Hi, for my presentation on my integrated learning project for the Former Prophets class, I chose to write a sermon on a passage from 1 Samuel 17, on a passage from 1 Samuel 17. Now, why did I choose to do a sermon? I chose to do a sermon as I'm taking a Bachelor of Theology here at Providence Seminary, and I'm hoping to become a pastor in the future, so I feel like writing a sermon would be the most applicable to my area of study. My process of how I went about creating my sermon was, firstly, I looked over the course material and I wanted to see what stuff would be applicable for to choose to write a sermon on. Then I chose to pray about it and see what guidance the Lord would give me, and see if He would help me to choose material that He would be that inspire me on. Third, I think about like what parts stood out to me, and the story of David and Goliath, that's always stood out to me. There's lots of times I felt like the little guy and felt like life was big and really daunting. So yeah, it's just been a story that's always been there in my life, and my understanding of it has really changed every time I see it. For me, the story of David Goliath is almost like a Christmas story. I feel like I go through it in life at least once a year, and every time I go through it, it becomes alive to me again. It becomes new to me, and there's a fresh understanding. There's a new outlook and a new way for me to understand it. And this time was no different. So then, what really stood out to me this time was that David just trusted God over and over again, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what the battlefield looked like, no matter what the home situation was. He just continued to rely on God time and again, and then God gave him everything he needed to be victorious. Then I read it over several times. I considered the theme of the passage, what the application was, what this looks like today, how we can live this out. And then I wanted to see if so I wrote down that understanding, and then I wanted to see if that understanding would hold up to what we see in the rest of the Bible. And then one thing for me, I always like to see how it looks in the New Testament as well. And I think we see that over and over in Paul's letters. In Ephesians, he's in prison. That could be easily seen as a giant, and he's facing with joy and gladness because he trusts in God. He knows that it's God's will for him to be there, and he knows that he's going to succeed in the future. So that trust in God that we see in David transfers straight over, and I think that makes it really easy to make application for it. And then it comes down to just writing the actual sermon. So what I did with that is I have an outline to really help me stay focused. I have ADHD extremely bad, and I cannot focus to save my life. So by having an outline, it really helps me keep on track and just keeps me going the directions I need to go. So my outline is that I have an intro, hopefully something to catch your attention, to get you thinking about the topic, and then a prayer. I think it's a good idea to dedicate every sermon to the Lord, and always ask for His blessing. I'd rather you hear what He has to say about the passage than anything I could ever bring to it. And then I want to read from Scripture, the passage we're going to focus on, then have a discussion, or I'll talk about, what the key themes and ideas are in there, what the relevance is to that passage, and then a call to action so that we know how to take from the Bible and take it home, and on Monday morning, how can this impact my life? How can it change me? And how can it increase my relationship with God? How can I understand God better? It relates to the former prophets, as 1 Samuel was a main focus in the class, and the focus of amazing faith of David just has really always stood out to me. So, thank you. That's how I came to my presentation, and have a good day.